Before he ever touched magic, Alex Hygret was just a reckless troublemaker, squandering his days in the capital on pointless distractions like fishing. One day, a wizard named Aldous suddenly approached him and casually asked if he was interested in magic. At first, Alex assumed the strange man was a spy or some kind of undercover agent, but it didn't take long for him to realize that Aldous was genuinely serious about teaching magic. Seeing something special in Alex, Aldous began training him, already thinking about the allies he might gain in the future, and how he would need to save them from monster attacks. Due to the tough teaching methods, Alex learned magic quickly, even so he felt guilty that one spell took an entire day. He did not hear that common people took a month to learn the same spell. Alex became super excited and demanded to learn another spell, but Aldous said that one spell was enough for one day. Alex's mood soured, but Aldous stuck to his word, and they both returned to fishing. Alex sat with a sullen face the entire time. Then, to handle his ego, Aldous spoke. He told Alex that he possessed amazing magical talent and would become a great wizard even without training. He told him to leave it to destiny. Alex was shocked to hear this and asked why Aldous was actually teaching him magic. Before he got an answer, a fish caught on Aldous's rod, and he went into panic mode because he had caught a fish for the first time in his life. Time passed, and the lives of the teacher and student continued smoothly. Aldous taught Alex many things, but one day he suddenly announced that he was leaving the capital. Alex was sad because he thought this might be their last meeting. However, Aldous gave him a final piece of advice. He told him to refuse the position of court wizard if he ever got the chance. Alex did not understand what this meant. He asked why Aldous had taught him magic in the first place. For a moment, Aldous became serious and spoke about Alex's late mother. She had done him a huge favor, and Aldous was merely repaying it. That was their last meeting. Alex worked incredibly hard to gain admission to the Royal Magic Academy, hoping he might meet Aldous again. There, he discovered that Aldous was also a top student of the academy and became the court wizard. But within a few years, he was removed from that post. Alex finally understood why Aldous gave him that advice. But instead of heeding it, Alex decided to become the court wizard to defeat the corrupt royal court and fix it himself. Short story. He succeeded and became the court mage. But later, he realized he made a mistake. He realized this when Prince Regulus kicked him out of the party in the middle of a dungeon. Alex asked for the reason, and the fair-skinned scoundrel stated that Alex was so useless that the team did not need him. Regulus said he risked his life on the front lines against monsters. The fire mage, Lonnie, cast spells, and their tank, Ix, blocked attacks. Meanwhile, Alex just stood in the back and performed pathetic support magic. Regulus claimed their party did not need such a loser. Lonnie agreed and called him a coward who was afraid to advance in the dungeon. Ix silently nodded in support. Then Lonnie revealed that they only tolerated him until then because it was the king's order. Since the prince removed him, they said goodbye. Regulus suspected Alex got top marks because he bribed the teachers. He then asked why Alex had a dagger when commoners were forbidden to carry weapons. Alex tried to explain that the dagger was necessary for the next floor, but Regulus got angry, snatched the dagger, grabbed his collar, and shouted that no one disobeyed him in his party. The prince even took his court, wizard robe, and Alex was sent out of the dungeon in humiliation. Even then, he wanted to help his party. He wrote some notes to help them survive on the lower floors. The next day, he went to the castle to meet the king, but the guards stopped him. They told him he was no longer a court wizard, but a commoner, and commoners had no entry. Alex was in shock, and just then, Lonnie arrived to rub salt in the wound. She tore the notes, threw them on the ground, and ordered the guards to throw the man out. Alex stood in the middle of the city without a job, without respect, and completely broken. In the end, he remembered the advice to never become a court wizard. Just then, a familiar voice called his name. He turned around. A red-haired girl stood in front of him staring, and then she ran and hugged him. A few seconds later, Alex recognized her as Yorha, his old friend from his academy days. They sat and talked, and Alex told her the whole story. He explained how he was removed from Prince Regulus's party and lost his court wizard job. Hearing all this, Yorha became furious and started cursing the entire kingdom for how they treated him. Nobles and normal people were clearly discriminated against there. Alex quickly silenced her before anyone around could hear. Then Yorha smiled and said that it was good he was fired because he had endured so much nonsense in the last 2 days that now he did not care about anyone's words. Just then, Yorha reminded him of the old promise that one day she would definitely include him in her party. That memory instantly flashed before Alex's eyes, and Yorha revealed that she had actually come to the capital for this very reason. She stood up, extended her hand, and requested Alex to go and conquer the dungeon with her. Alex was happy with this offer, but after the job loss, self-doubt had taken root in his heart. However, Yorha had zero tension about all these things. She said that she wanted only Alex in her team. No other magician could ever take his place. Hearing this, confidence reawakened in Alex's heart, and he accepted the offer without thinking. Yorha excitedly invited him to join her next grand party. The very next day, Alex left his country with Yorha. He remembered that advice from Aldous. He remembered not to become a court magician. A few days later, the news of Alex leaving reached Regulus and his companions, and shockingly, it made no difference to them. Regulus stated that Alex was considered a genius in the academy, and there were high hopes for him. Now he felt that they had just wasted their time, but Lonnie said that there was no need to worry. A pure noble was soon going to join their team, and their squad would become even more overpowered. Meanwhile, Alex and Yorha reached the dungeon city of Fizzle. Yorha proudly told him that this city was solely a base for adventurers. There was no discrimination between nobles and commoners here. She wanted Alex to register at the Adventurers Guild immediately, but as soon as they reached the desk, they received a big shock. The receptionist said that Alex could not be registered in their party because they explored dungeons above the 30th floor, and it was mandatory for Alex to remain in the guild for 2 years to prove his capability before joining. Yorha immediately flared up. She asked them to make an exception, but the receptionist clearly refused. Yorha asked if her friend Kraza had not spoken about this. The receptionist confirmed that Kraza had come there and even threatened to include Alex, but they met such crazy people daily, so no one took her seriously. There was no result. Both came out of the guild and sat in a public park to have lunch. Yorha mentioned that they had already reached the 52nd floor of the dungeon. She absolutely could not wait 2 years for Alex to officially join her team. However, the word give up was not in her dictionary. Therefore, she proposed that if they could not go to the deep dungeon, they should do a warm-up in a shallow dungeon first. Alex agreed, and they both arrived at a low-level dungeon where there were only insect-type monsters. Yorha used her reinforcement magic to boost Alex's speed and ran around easily, finishing off the monsters. But soon the scene began to change. Instead of decreasing, the monsters were becoming stronger. Alex also felt that something was wrong. There was surely an anomaly in the nest that was buffing them, but everything was still under control. During the fight, Yorha activated her shield and started moving toward the nest. Alex warned that this was risky, but she laughed casually and said it was nothing. Then, she spoke the truth with pain. She said it seemed he had lost his edge. If it were the old Alex, these insects would have been zero difficulty for him. Hearing this, Alex remembered Aldous' teaching. Protecting friends was the real power. He instantly turned on his aggression mode. He blasted some monsters with fireballs and finished the rest with his dagger. Just then, a massive swarm of monsters surrounded them, but Yorha did not panic. She created a giant barrier, which gave Alex time to charge a wide-range spell. Boom! With just one spell, all the insects vanished. Silence prevailed. Yorha placed her hand on his back and proudly said that she knew the spark was still there. Just then, the ground began to shake, and a giant worm emerged from below. In shock, it jumped straight at Yorha and was about to swallow her. Alex screamed at her to keep the shield activated, reassuring her that he was there. Yorha fully trusted him completely and raised a magic shield. Alex summoned a giant fire serpent and burned that worm completely to ashes. Yorha took no damage from the fire, and as soon as she landed, she ran toward Alex. She excitedly said that he was still the most powerful offensive mage she knew, and this battle took her back to their academy days, the time when they fought a 5-headed dragon. Its skills were extremely hard and its attacks were super brutal. But Alex, after proper preparation, finished that monster with just one spell. And thanks to that victory, they reached the 68th floor, a new academy record. That time when they returned to the academy after defeating the boss, they were called the best team of the era. Even their dwarf instructor, Rosie, understood that there was something special in these 4 students. Unbeatable teamwork, trust, and perfect coordination. Yes, they returned from the dungeon wounded and covered in blood, but there were huge smiles on their faces because they hadn't just broken the record, but smashed it badly. The previous best team had only reached the 32nd floor, and now Alex was moving towards becoming part of that legendary group again. Finally, graduation day arrived, and Bonnie Rosie announced their marks. Ren remained at 4th place in the class. After that, Kraza came 3rd, Yorha 2nd, and finally Alex, who was the student with the most brilliant score ever and was to give the class valedictorian speech. Happiness and hope were visible on their faces because they had endured their instructor's teasing and even taken beatings for it. When they were walking out of the academy, the other students were looking at them with jealousy and amazement, as if this was the best party ever. Just a team that was definitely going to become great. And Alex also knew this, that soon he would decide not to pursue a career as an adventurer, but wanted to become a court wizard. His team members were a bit stunned, but they understood that the life of a court wizard is relatively easy. There is a fixed salary and stability in work too. They were definitely disappointed, but they never blamed Alex and wished him well for the future. Yorha promised that one day they would work together again. In the present, that promise appeared to be coming true when Yorha and Alex celebrated together. After just one glass of wine, Yorha became completely drunk. She was angry about the fact that they still could not go into the deep dungeon, but soon she fell asleep right on the bench. Alex smiled and remembered that she was almost the same during their academy days. Like a true simp, he put his jacket over her so she would stay warm. But inside the bar, there was a man who did not like simps because he was on the Sigma grind. He approached Alex and made fun of him for being a beta, but Alex completely ignored him because because that man was a fan of Andrew Tater Tot. In anger, he picked up a bottle, but Alex immediately used a mana shield and blocked the attack. The man smiled happily that he finally got attention. He already knew that Alex was a court wizard and said he did not expect a noble to be wandering around trying to become an adventurer. Then he took a card out of his pocket, which was an adventurer pass, and placed it on the table. Alex was confused and asked what it was, but the man simply said that he was apologizing for testing him with the bottle. But there was also a condition. If Alex wanted to take the pass, he would have to show his magic. Alex was still confused when Yorha woke up in a drunken state and asked the guildmaster what he was doing there. Alex could not understand why the pass was being given, but the guildmaster remained completely calm. He took them to the training ground and said that this was the underground training area where he tested groups that were leveling up. Here Alex would show his strength. Yorha said that perhaps this was not the right time because Alex had drunk wine, but Alex claimed that he still had the will to fight. The guildmaster formally introduced himself to Alex as Levi. A bell rang in Alex's mind because he realized that the guildmaster was a very powerful wizard who had led an S-rank party some time ago. He laughed and said that those were now blurry memories. The requirements were simple. He just had to impress him with his magic. The sparring session began. Alex used his aggressive lightning magic, but Levi skillfully dodged it and cast water magic. Alex dodged and realized that Levi had the upper hand in range. He strategized for close combat. He adopted that strategy, but instead of retreating, Levi slammed his fists on the ground and increased his speed with reinforcement magic. Then Levi ran at Alex, moved to the side, and circled around him with incredible speed. At the last moment, he tried to punch, which Alex blocked with a mana shield. Due to the intensity of the punch, the shield broke, and Alex hit the wall and fell. Levi was impressed by his determination, but said that most people could not survive that punch. Alex emerged from the dust and said that Levi was truly a genuine S-rank adventurer. Seeing his carefree nature, Levi was a bit confused because he expected Alex to be fearful and worried, but Alex was no longer bound by any rules. He was completely free and could use his magic fully. Levi laughed and told him to attack with full power. Alex took out his hardwood staff and transformed it into a magical blade. Levi then threw water spheres, but Alex dodged the first sphere and struck the next one. Levi did the same in this aggressive play, but this was all Alex's plan. Levi used all his buff magic. He laid a trap, attacked with lightning, and then moved to the other side. He stood still for a few moments and said that Alex was truly something else because he had overcome his magic. However, Alex was surprised that Levi's game was not over yet. He took out magic gauntlets covered in dragon scales. He increased his strength and pounced straight at Alex. The punches created a crater in the ground, but Alex did not retreat. He cast lightning magic, but Levi deflected the blow. Levi attacked and punched Alex, which Alex blocked with his shield, but he was pushed back. He wondered what to do to deal with this monster. But Levi had even more tricks as he used the special ability of his gauntlets, which instantly healed all his injuries. Levi understood that the longer the fight dragged on, the lower his chances of winning would become. Therefore, he intensified the attack and struck continuously. Alex tried to block every blow, but Levi taunted him that he would have to do better. Alex also decided to joke a little, which ticked off the guildmaster. He tried to land a powerful punch, but Alex dodged and found an opportunity to attack. This made the guildmaster even more annoyed. Therefore, he intensified the attack. Alex cleverly dodged under him and attacked the wall. However, Levi gave him no chance to breathe and launched another attack, which Alex blocked. But he was surprised that the guildmaster was much more powerful than he looked. He absorbed the damage before striking with two hands, which raised a cloud of dust in the air. As soon as the dust cleared, Alex emerged without any injury and again tried to go behind Levi. Yorha immediately used her regeneration magic and ran to help Alex. Suddenly, Ren appeared on the training ground and mocked Levi for being an S-rank adventurer using his strongest art on a lower-ranked person. Levi told her to bring him because he was just testing Alex's limits. Ren picked Alex up and took him to a room where he could rest, but for some strange reason, she sat on his legs. They talked about how many times they had been together so far. Just then, the receptionist entered the room and said that the guildmaster was needed immediately. Levi grabbed her face and dragged her out of the room. Meanwhile, Ren brought a lot of wine and asked Yorha to tell her everything that happened with Alex. Ren trembled with anger because she realized that her team made him carry all the supplies, manage the inventory, and did not let him use any magic except defensive magic, nor carry a dagger. She suddenly turned to Yorha and asked how Alex performed defensive magic. In the academy, that wasn't his role, and he was never good at it. Yorha said that Alex learned it from scratch and worked hard until he became good enough. Now his defensive magic was almost at Levi's level. Alex realized that even after taking care of the prince for so long, he was called useless and exiled. In anger, Ren smashed her bottle, which woke Alex up. Ren was a bit surprised to see him awake, while Yorha happily said that the guildmaster had given him the pass. Alex was very happy because now they could all head towards high-level dungeons as a group, but Ren said that they had to do something else first, so they could wait. Alex did not understand what she was saying, but Ren explained that first, they had to enter the royal city and deal with the prince and his group. Alex said they would do no such thing, right? And Yorha added that fighting another group was strictly forbidden. Alex placed his hand on Ren's shoulder and said that enjoying the adventure was enough for him. He no longer cared about the court. Ren loudly stated that they had won. Now they had to become the world's most powerful party, which would completely annoy the prince. If there was ever any trouble in the country, they would come to help as the world's most powerful party, and saying no to his face would be truly satisfying. Alex understood that this was the best compromise and agreed that they would become the world's strongest party. In another room, there was an injured S-rank adventurer named Krista. The receptionist was applying bandages to her body, wrapping bandages on her body. Her breathing was rapid. The guildmaster was worried because if an S-rank party was in trouble, the entire guild was in trouble. Krista told Levi that their team was stuck and needed every bit of help. The guildmaster immediately called an emergency meeting, and all the high-rank adventurers went to the 64th floor for the rescue mission. Kraza came to Alex's room. They were both more mature now. She asked why he was not at the meeting. Alex replied that he was not an A-rank adventurer. Kraza cast a healing spell, and Alex became fully cured. Yorha and Ren entered the room. Ren shouted excitedly that they were going on a rescue mission. They told Alex that the dungeon was a bit different. On this floor, magic could not be used. Therefore, they would have to rely on potions. The S-rank party was completely wiped out, so Krista was sent alone to get help. Alex asked Kraza if she was okay since her specialty was healing magic. Kraza replied that she protested, but Ren vetoed it and sent her to the dungeon. They argued, and Yorha said that it now depended on him whether they went to the dungeon or not, because he had the main and most difficult job. Alex agreed to the mission, and they set off toward the dungeon. Standing at the entrance, Ren said that their team's legend would begin right there. They quickly entered the dungeon. Healing magic was not allowed there. Therefore, they had to rely on potions. Krista's guild members were trapped near the 64th floor boss. But first, they had to cross all the remaining levels. Ren suddenly realized that if they went level by level, a lot of time would be wasted. But Yorha took out a magic crystal with her hand and said that Krista gave it to them. With this, they could skip all the remaining levels and teleport straight to the 64th level. Alex immediately understood how rare and precious an item this crystal must be. But Krista's focus was primarily on saving her companions. Therefore, she gave this crystal to others too, so that they could reach the target level directly. Yorha told them that the 64th floor boss was clearly an undead creature, meaning Kraza would be of no use there. And since she was a support mage herself, most of the battle would depend on Alex. Ren warned him to conserve his mana and leave the small enemies to them because she did not want Alex's mana to run out before the undead boss. Kraza agreed and said that from now on they would truly fight death. Therefore, they had to take it seriously. Instead of being disappointed, Ren felt more alive than ever and excitedly said that the story of their great party started now. Then Yorha tossed the magic crystal in the air, and they instantly reached the 64th level. There was a dirty cave in front, and as soon as they stepped in, undead skeletons with shields and swords stood up. Ren was not afraid at all and took out her spear and started attacking. She cut down the skeletons one by one and claimed that level 64 seemed very easy so far. But suddenly, a new horde of skeletons advanced toward them. Ren fearlessly jumped toward them. She kept cutting down everyone who came. Yorha was worried that Ren had gone out of range of her support magic. She ran to help Ren along with Alex and Kraza. Kraza said that Ren was fine because she possessed a powerful ancient artifact, a black spear that always stayed sharp and which was difficult to damage, the perfect weapon for a mindless idiot. Alex asked if Ren needed help, but Ren said it was child's play, and she kept finishing every enemy. Alex smiled and walked with them. Just then, suddenly he sensed a strange presence behind him and instinctively threw a lightning bolt. When the dust cleared, there was no one there. Alex thought that perhaps it was a false alarm, but he took out his sword, moved forward, and struck the air. Dramatic. Just then, his strike was blocked by an invisible force that revealed itself as a Grim Reaper. Ren smiled and said that Alex did not look as tired as she thought. The Grim Reaper pushed Alex back and tried to attack, but Alex dodged the blow and jumped toward Ren. He realized that Ren trusted his capabilities completely, and she relied on him to keep her safe from behind. This connection filled him with energy, and he struck the Grim Reaper with his magic sword and instantly killed it. He asked Yorha if she knew, and Yorha immediately apologized for not telling him. Kraza told him to talk to Ren because she was the one who suggested it first. Alex smiled at Ren and promised that one day he would repay the favor, but Ren said that first, they had to get out of the dungeon alive. The four friends got ready to finish the enemies. Alex and Ren jumped on the undead skeletons. They cut left and right, while while Yorha strengthened them with magic. Ren used fancy moves and killed every skeleton, while Kraza took precise shots with her bow. Alex understood that the waves of skeletons would never end. Therefore, he called everyone toward him. He used a fast lightning skill, and the entire area lit up like lightning. All the skeletons turned into burnt pieces. Ren turned around, asked why Alex was only using lightning when he had used many offensive magics in the academy. Alex made an excuse, that lightning was the fastest magic. Ren knew he was hiding something, but time was short, so she stayed quiet. From the front, a terrible roar came. They assumed this must be the boss room. Ren got ready, and after Yorha's reinforcement magic, she ran toward that loud sound. Alex was impressed while the other girls followed her to the end of the tunnel. As soon as they exited, they saw Ren on the ledge chasing a huge monster and an adventurer looking like a bull. Alex immediately wanted to save that man, but Ren paid no attention. She said that the wizard's name was Loki, who was the biggest scoundrel of the Ryoma group. Kraza nodded and said that Loki was truly a cunning support wizard. Alex could not believe it, but Loki ran screaming for Ren's help and promised that if he died, he would haunt her every day. Ren did not care about him, but when Loki fell and the monster was about to catch him, Alex immediately got ready for action. Kraza said to wait. She said this was Loki's way. The monster advanced toward Loki. Just then, a trap below activated and blew it into the lava. Alex was shocked, but Kraza explained that Loki was indeed cunning. The monster stumbled and faced fire explosions. Loki laughed and said that anyone could stumble in such a situation, but his smile faded when the angry monster was about to unleash a powerful magic explosion. Loki could not believe that he would survive, but Ren saved him at the last moment. Loki could not believe he had survived. Meanwhile, Alex and the girls went down to deal with the monster. The monster attacked Alex, but Yorha saved him with her magic shield. Alex used the lightning spell, but the monster turned and ran toward Ren and Loki. Alex shouted and warned of the danger. He threw another lightning spell, but when the dust cleared, he realized it was not enough. Ren felt that the monster was about to catch her. She adopted a last resort and dodged the monster by running between its legs. Then Kraza threw Loki, and Yorha said that Loki would be safe while they dealt with the monster. Ren immediately got ready and took out her spear. They waited until Kraza took Loki to safety and then prepared for the final showdown. Yorha increased all of Ren's stats with her magic power, and Ren ran straight toward the monster. She dodged its attack and, leaping into the air, drove the spear into its face. The monster was much more powerful than she imagined and shook Ren violently, throwing her to the ground. Yorha immediately ran toward the injured Ren, but the monster tried to crush her. Thankfully, Yorha blocked the attack by casting her shield magic and gave Ren a chance to recover. On the other side, Alex pretended as if he was the maestro of an orchestra and created 5 magic circles around the monster. Loki said in surprise that creating 3 circles was difficult enough, and he was making 5 at once. It seemed he was a genius. Kraza smiled and said that he could do much more than that. Loki's eyes widened when Alex created 20 magic circles at once. The monster tried to pounce on them, but Ren jumped on its body and drove the spear into its tail. This gave Alex time to complete his magic. As soon as Alex's preparation was complete, he jumped on the monster and blew it away with a combination of lightning magic. The monster went into shock right there. But when Alex tried to finish it, surprisingly, it survived the next attack. The monster immediately started a magic explosion, but Kraza cast a spell and blinded it for some time. Yorha also cast magic. She created huge chains, and the monster got trapped there. Ren attacked swiftly. She spun the spear and drove it into the monster's head. Alex got ready to help her, but the monster was still capable of moving and tried to unleash a powerful magic explosion once again. Alex stood fearlessly and prepared a magic spell that only 2 people in the whole world knew. One was his teacher Aldous, who created it, and the other was Alex himself, who learned it from Aldous. As the monster struck magic toward Alex, he used reflection magic and retaliated with double intensity, but the monster was truly very powerful and escaped even this. Barely saving its life, the monster was about to attack once again. This time, along with reflection magic, Alex created many magic circles and surrounded the monster in a terrible inferno. Ren finished the job by cutting the monster's head in half. After the victory, they started celebrating, but Alex thanked Loki for the help, and Loki said he already knew everything because he was a court wizard. Alex replied that he had left that job. Loki said this was a big loss for the prince and his group. Then he said that the monster they were fighting was not the real floor boss, but a sub-boss. The sub-boss was so foolish that it isolated itself in the back. Alex and his companions were truly shocked to hear this. Loki explained that the sub-boss was actually a necromancer, wearing black armor like a knight. He claimed that physical attacks were not effective and only worked for a short time. Then he turned to Alex and gave him a magic wand with a cross on the tip. Alex immediately recognized it. Loki explained that it was an ancient artifact, and as soon as it came into Alex's hand, it transformed into a sword. Ren was surprised. She asked why Loki was giving such a valuable thing. Loki just laughed and said he wanted to use Alex as bait. Everyone was shocked, but Loki explained that Alex looked like a weak wizard. If he became the bait, he would draw the boss toward him. Then they could ambush and defeat the boss to gain the glory of defeating an S-rank monster. Meanwhile, Alex and the others were struggling to save their lives in the dungeon, while the prince and his group were on the other side of the continent. But their condition was completely the opposite. They were trying to escape from a swarm of caterpillar monsters while running around in caves. The prince was confused. A few months ago, these low-level caterpillar monsters were easy practice, but now fighting them seemed difficult. He shouted at his sorceress to use her offensive magic on the beasts, but the sorceress did nothing out of fear and started crying. The prince angrily called them low-minded losers and stepped forward to face the monsters himself. He swore to finish them with a single blow of his sword, but as soon as he struck, the blow bounced off the monster's tough skin and he was shaken. Without delay, the monster slapped the prince. He fell to the ground, and his companions had to run to save him. While being carried on his companions' backs, the prince thought that all this did not feel right. His body felt heavy, his movements were sluggish, and the sword felt very heavy and difficult. He realized that this all started when he removed Alex from his party. Alex was an excellent court wizard and performed support magic so seamlessly that the prince and the party always thought they were incredibly powerful. The truth was that Alex had boosted their capabilities so much that no one even noticed, but the prince would never believe it. He just thought Alex must have cursed him in anger. When he returned to the castle, the medics applied bandages. After that, he called his private wizard Vogon to check what curse he was suffering from. He checked for a while. Then he stated there was no curse. The prince did not believe it and asked him to check again because he should not have so much trouble dealing with easy level 30 monsters while he had now gone beyond the 40th floor. Vogon paused for a moment to think and replied that perhaps the reason was that he no longer had any support magic. This remark hurt the prince's ego, and he arrogantly said he did not need any support magic. He said only extremely weak adventurers used it. Vogon knew that the prince was a bit foolish and did not understand anything, but he avoided stating his mind and asked if Alex had not told him that the 30th floor could be a bit difficult because magical support did not work there. The prince replied that Alex was a common farmer. He knew nothing about this, but Vogon did not believe this. He said that Alex was in that legendary team that broke all previous records and reached the 68th floor even before graduating. The prince laughed and said no common farmer could even dream of doing such a thing. He said common people made up these stories for their own well-being. Vogon realized that arguing with a fool like the prince was useless, but just then a messenger opened the door and summoned the prince to the court because his father, the king, wanted to talk to him about the former court wizard Alex. The prince got up and left for the court with Vogon. Upon reaching the court, they found his father sitting on the throne and asked what he wanted to talk about. The king asked directly if he remembered the court wizard Aldous. The prince was a bit confused because he was very young at that time. The king explained that a long time ago, a noble named Aldous came to him as a court wizard. His family was influential, so it was easy for him to be recommended and chosen as a wizard. But Aldous was different from others. He continuously fought against discrimination and told the king that the state's functioning had to change. Angered by this insult, the king exiled him and stripped him of all his titles and surname. The prince laughed in his mind and said that the foolish wizard deserved exactly that. He said even a noble could not talk to the king like that. His father looked at him with sad eyes and said Aldous was different. He enrolled in the magic academy like a common man and topped his classes. At the time of graduation, he became the top student and valedictorian. For this reason, he was chosen as court wizard once again, but this time it was solely because of his skills, not his family status. The king revealed that Aldous kept teaching him for 2 years how to treat common people because some of them possessed amazing skills. But the king did not listen to him, and one day Aldous suddenly disappeared. The prince was confused as to why his father was telling all this, but finally the king said that the time had come to improve the state's functioning, and talented common people like Alex were needed. The prince did not believe his ears and called Alex a useless person, but the king took out a torn parchment which contained details of the entire 3rd floor, a map of the monsters found there, and the method to clear it. The king claimed that only a person who had cleared the 3rd floor many times could write it in such detail. The prince was shocked and said that they could not ask for help from a commoner because it was against his upbringing. The king bowed his head in shame and said that his own ways had been wrong in many aspects, but he would correct them. Now, evaluation would not be based on class and position, but on skill and power. The prince stared at his father in disbelief and then left the court, making an excuse of being sick. In the main dungeon, Loki was still planning how to deal with the floor boss. He told Alex to use only the given sword and not to use any magic. Alex still did not understand the full plan and said that since the monster was immune to physical attacks, why use a sword? Ren suddenly realized that Loki wanted to force the monster to think that Alex was actually a swordsman and not a magician, so that the monster would not consider him a threat. But she did not understand the point of this. this because the monster would attack anyway. Loki wagged his finger and said he was sure the monster was intelligent and could determine its moves in advance. He was also an expert in swordsmanship. Alex was shocked, but also excited because he truly wanted to see such a monster. Finally, they agreed on the plan, but the boss room was still far away. Loki claimed that they could easily teleport there. Yorha got nervous and said that teleportation magic was extremely confidential and only high officials used it, but Ren knew that Loki could do it easily. He immediately started creating a magic circle, while Alex talked to Yorha about how they would shift all the blame onto Loki if they were caught during the teleportation magic. Alex was still hesitating to trust him. Yorha said that Loki was not trustworthy but was reliable because 2 years ago he had cleared a high-ranked dungeon without any casualties. Alex was surprised, and Yorha continued, saying that Loki's group leader was also a good person, so everything should be fine. Once the magic circle was formed, they stood on it, and the entire Chot area began to glow purple. Yorha watched in surprise that Loki could truly use the teleport spell. She warned them to remain alert because they would be teleported directly to the boss room. They landed and saw a gigantic dark knight fighting a party of 3 people in front of them. The wizard of that party immediately ordered one of them to retreat and bring help, because if they wanted to get out of this place alive, they would need a wizard or someone of even higher level. The girl ran away immediately, while the small warrior lunged to attack the knight, but the wizard started casting fire magic on him, and the attack stopped. However, there was not even a scratch on the knight's armor, and the elf understood that they were completely defeated there. But before she could make a plan, Ren moved forward with reckless speed and threw her spear at the monster. The knight blocked it, pushing her back. Excitement was visible on Ren's face. This monster was unbelievably powerful. Alex silently tried to attack from behind, but the knight jumped and dodged the blow. The boss immediately ran toward the new opponents and continued the barrage of sword and spear blows. Kraza and Loki took the other 2 adventurers to a safe place after the new adventurers jumped in. The floor boss showed no weakness and forced them to retreat by continuing the attacks. His barrage of swords was tiring out Alex and Ren. Ren tried a new move and, drawing her sword, lunged at the monster. Just as she thought, the knight jumped into the air to avoid the blow, but Ren pinned his cloak to the ground with the tip of her spear, causing him to get stuck and giving Alex a chance. Alex immediately attacked the monster and separated the knight's head from his body with a precise blow. His body went limp and fell to the ground, but just as they thought the fight was over, the knight came back to life and stood up without a head and advanced toward Alex and his companions. Alex realized that this was a headless horseman, and the giant monster they had killed earlier must have been its rider. The headless knight attacked with high speed, but Alex barely managed to block the blow. Ren immediately attacked and, together with Alex, pushed the knight away. The fight was not over yet. The knight grabbed his head and reattached it to his body with a burst of energy, then attacked Alex again, who barely blocked it but hit the wall and fell. Thankfully, Yorha used her shield and Alex's life was saved. Alex quickly drank a healing potion and joined Ren to give her time to recover as well. They continued the fight against the undead monster while Loki focused on his plan. Finally, Loki appeared on the battlefield, and the entire arena lit up with a purple magical aura. The knight got scared. He realized that Loki was a wizard, and this was the path to his death. The floor boss ran at incredible speed, and before Alex could do anything, struck him in the chest. Loki's lifeless, blood-soaked body fell to the ground. But this was all part of his plan. The monster reached exactly where Loki wanted and got stuck in a pile of ice, which caused its speed to slow down. Ren immediately created a teleportation magic trap. She reached behind the monster, stabbed it, and retreated. The other small fighter also came forward to help, but the knight managed to escape and got trapped. Again, the monster became very angry and climbed the wall like Spider-Man to deal with the wizard. He attacked Kraza directly, but Loki jumped in between and blocked him with his magic blade. Yorha immediately used reinforcement magic and created a bunch of chains to trap the knight. Loki was not a warrior, but he held the knight long enough for the magic to succeed in trapping him. Loki fell down completely exhausted and looked at Alex, telling him to finish the knight with his amazing magic. Alex immediately got ready and created many magic circles to surround the captured knight. The small warrior was surprised. She had never seen anyone create 5 magic circles at once. Loki realized that something was wrong because Alex's mana seemed weak. He struggled to stand and created even more magic circles. He fell to his knees. He got scared by Ren's apprehension, but stood up again and focused his mind so that he could finish the monster in one go. When the magic circles around the floor boss were enough, Alex used his lightning magic, which was boosted by an acceleration spell. The entire area echoed with lightning, and the floor boss screamed in pain from the heavy magical power. But this was not enough either. He started breaking the chains. Ren was shocked. She could not understand how the knight could move forward while enduring such powerful magic. Yorha realized that they had to finish quickly because her sealing magic would not last much longer. Alex knew that Yorha was also at her limit, so so he tried to increase the magical effect but failed. Loki watched from afar and understood that this was Alex's second big magical explosion of the day. If a normal human used even half of Alex's first mana, they would go into a coma. But Alex was also human, and it seemed he had reached his peak limit. He could not believe that he would let his team fail in this task. He remembered how ruthlessly he was kicked out of the post of court wizard, and although he had left his school friends, Yorha still happily included him in her group. Ren and Kraza were both completely in sync with Alex, and trusted him fully even in deadly situations. This caused a sudden wave of energy to run through Alex, and he moved forward waving his wand as if he were the greatest musician in an orchestra. He combined all his magic circles to create an incredibly powerful lightning dragon, which was his last hope to defeat the monster. Loki and the others were just stunned to see this display of power. The knight understood that he was now in big trouble. He used his full strength to break Yorha's magic chains and lunged straight at her. Thankfully, Alex was fully ready, and he released his lightning dragon directly on the monster. The knight tried to block it with his huge sword, but Alex's magic was so powerful that in a single blow, only ash remained of him. Alex fell to the ground in a tired haze because his body refused to move, but he was happy to know that his team was safe and no one suffered serious injury. Yorha immediately appeared above him and thanked him for saving her life, which filled Alex with energy again. He got up and asked Yorha if she was hurt. Ren and Kraza reached there and thanked Alex because they were all safe because of him. But Ren quickly understood that Alex was hiding some of his feelings and the trauma experienced while being a court wizard. She told Alex that they were all his friends and team members. Ren promised that Alex had to share his anxiety and everything going on inside that was causing the change in his behavior. Alex realized that he had true friends in this world and promised not to hide anything now. Loki also arrived and claimed that he had seen many wizards, but never saw the use of so many spells at once. He said that if it were not for Alex, perhaps they would all be dead by now. Ren heard this and said that Loki owed Alex a big favor now, and Loki agreed. He talked to Bell and claimed that they were ready to give a recommendation to Alex. Alex was a bit confused, but Bell explained that if he wanted to become an S-rank adventurer, he needed both an S-rank party and an S-rank guild master's recommendation. She promised that being the leader of an S-rank party, she would happily recommend him. They shook hands and, in the joy of being alive and defeating the floor boss, went their separate ways. Upon returning to the guild, Alex received a big reward for his efforts, and the whole guild was discussing his and his team's success in defeating the level 64 boss. But Alex was very tired and wanted to rest with his friends for a few days. Meanwhile, the guild master stopped him and said that someone from his old job had come. Alex's stomach immediately churned, and he thought that perhaps the prince came to mock and bully the team. But the visitor was Vogan, the new court wizard. Alex greeted him, and Vogan came straight to the point. He asked if Alex was planning to kill the young prince in the dungeon. Alex was shocked and looked at him with confused eyes. Vogan asked why Alex had not told the prince how weak his party was. Alex politely replied that even if he had tried, the prince would never have listened to him nor liked it. Vogan did not agree because he realized what a shoddy job he was forced to do. Alex realized that Vogan was the new court wizard and tried to congratulate him, but it had no effect on Vogan. He claimed that he was not a court wizard, but a glorified nanny to a spoiled child. Vogan said that this job was a huge waste of his time and revealed that the prince tried to cross the third floor with his team but was badly injured. Alex was scared, but Vogan told him not to worry because the prince survived and recovered. Now Vogan had received orders to bring the prince to this city. Alex was speechless when he asked if the prince was also here. Vogan nodded and said that the prince still hated him and wanted to see him in pain. Alex asked where the prince was and decided to talk to him to settle everything forever. Vogan took him to the training ground where the prince was standing inside the arena waiting for him. He turned to Alex and said that his father, the king, wanted to change the state's functioning and he had no choice but to obey him. Alex was surprised, but the prince continued, saying that just because he was obeying him did not mean he believed in it. He said the fate of nobles working with farmers and common people was worse than death, and farmers like Alex should obey every command of those noble aristocrats whose blood was considered pure and holy. The prince suddenly grabbed Alex's shirt and, crying, said that a farmer like him would never be enough to become the next king because he did not even realize the pressure. Hearing this, Alex replied seriously that the prince's thinking was completely wrong. He said that if the prince had ever followed his advice, he would be in a much better place now and would have become a stronger adventurer. This pierced the prince's heart, and he shouted at Alex to keep his farmer mouth shut. Then he took out his sword and challenged the former court wizard to a duel and shouted that Vogan should convince the king to change his plans so that he could start treating farmers like humans. Vogan paused for a while and agreed to his conditions if Alex was defeated in a fair duel. The prince lunged at Alex and tried to strike with the sword. Alex easily blocked the blow, but noticed that the prince was using ancient artifacts like two small daggers. He told him to come and face him like a man and continued his flurry of attacks, which Alex kept blocking without thinking. Alex remembered the moment in the armory when he suggested the prince use daggers instead of a sword because swords were too heavy for him at that time. With daggers, the prince was faster than before, but he was no match for Alex. He just stepped aside, and the prince fell to the ground groaning. Red with anger, the prince got up again and started attacking with full force. Meanwhile, Vogan revealed that he had forced the prince to use daggers because he could not tolerate idiots who did not know what they were doing. Alex continuously foiled every attack of the prince and took out his wand. The prince looked at the wand with hatred. He remembered how confused he was when he could not clear even a single level alone. Then he realized that he felt so powerful only because of Alex's support magic. He refused to believe it and kept thinking about what other reasons and curses could be behind his reduced strength. Finally, Vogan tore apart the plan made by Alex before leaving the capital. Alex had portrayed every detail perfectly. He described every monster and methods to defeat it, and suggested the most correct paths to move forward, keeping in mind the prince's weaknesses and strengths. The prince then realized that Alex was truly a strategist, but he could not tolerate it. He shouted for Alex to reveal his artifacts and show his real power. Hearing this, Alex decided to end the spectacle and took out his old sword before striking. Just the aura was enough to wet the prince's pants, and he started shivering, unable to move. In a moment, Alex ran toward him and swung his sword with full force, which created a huge cloud of dust. When the dust cleared, the prince was found shivering on the ground, but he was not hurt because Alex had struck the ground next to him. The prince finally broke down and asked him to take his life because he could not do anything. He reminded Alex how he was treated in the party, but Alex just laughed and extended his hand to pick him up. The prince had now calmed down, and he got up himself and apologized. He took out the court wizard's robe and gave it to Alex. Alex stood in confusion, but Vogan said that the king wanted him back as the court wizard. He took out a stamped parchment. Alex looked at it for a moment and asked if this was an order. Vogan replied that no, it was just a request. Alex smiled and refused the invitation. He said that he was now part of a team that he did not want to lead. The prince threw the robe at Alex and turned to go back, calling Vogan along, saying that now he needed more training. Alex watched the prince leave the arena and felt that today the prince had become a complete human, and now the kingdom was perhaps in better hands. The next day, Alex asked his friends if they were free because he had to ask them a favor. Everyone said they were free, but as soon as Alex said that he wanted to show them around the city, Ren immediately started crying that she had a severe stomachache and would have to spend the entire day in the toilet. Kraza said that she remembered urgent work and left the room. She told Alex to go with Yorha. Yorha laughingly asked if Alex would like to tour the city some other day. He replied that he just needed someone to show him around, and Yorha excitedly said that she would show him every place she knew. They first reached the market, where Yorha explained that Fizel was a city of adventurers, and weapons and potions could be found almost everywhere. But to find real treasure, good knowledge of the market was necessary. Yorha told him to be careful of fraudulent merchants who tried to mislead rookies. Ironically, she herself got tricked by a merchant who was selling pills that could make her look like Sabrina Carpenter. Alex grabbed her hand and pulled her away, and Yorha's heart beat faster. Anyway, they walked around the market again, and Alex said that they could let Ren or Kraza do the shopping. Yorha did not trust them because the last time they sent them shopping, Ren had bought swords to cosplay as Zoro, and Kraza had bought a big teddy bear. She said that now they could not be trusted with the party's shopping. Alex also agreed because she had only bought candy and fake pills. He decided that from now on he would do the party's shopping himself, and Yorha became happy hearing this. A while later they saw a cafe, and Alex suggested everyone rest. While drinking coffee, Alex asked, "So Kraza and Ren, why are you guys so against Loki?" Yorha smiled a little and said, this is a long story." She explained that it all started before Ren found the artifact, and she was always a bit careless and carefree as usual. She used to throw her weapons wildly around on the battlefield, but as soon as they were out, she took great care of them. Alex remembered this from his academy days when she refused to buy a new weapon because the old weapon was very special to her. Then Yorha came to the main story. She explained that 2 years ago they met an Orin group in the dungeon that was fighting a powerful monster. They decided to help. Coincidentally, Loki and Bell were also present there, so everyone worked together. During the fight, Ren saved an Orang adventurer from the monster's attack by using her body as a shield. Although she was pretending to be fine, she fell down down while exiting. Loki and Bell helped to pick her up, but despite being unconscious, Ren held her spear tightly and at every step kept hitting Loki on the head. Seeing this, Loki got angry and threw the spear away. He said it was badly broken and Ren should get a new spear. Alex understood everything. Yorha explained that Ren was very angry at that time, and to make matters worse, Loki had forbidden her from crying and whining because weapons were disposable anyway. Yorha said that if Loki had kept his mouth shut, the matter would have been resolved quickly, but now they did not get along. Yorha was a bit disappointed about how things were getting worse between them, but Alex was more curious as to why Kraza disliked Loki. Yorha replied that Kraza considered him unpleasant. She felt that wherever he went, he brought only trouble. After this, they resumed their shopping trip and reminisced about their academy days when they had to collect money to buy potions. Just then, Yorha spotted a rare item called the Elven Ribbon, which increased magical power. She wanted to buy it, but felt that it was out of her budget. As soon as she thought about what to do, Alex decided to buy it without bargaining and said it was her right. Your magic keeps the fight going in our party. Yorha was very happy to get the ribbon, and they continued their journey in the city again. They climbed the clock tower to watch the sunset and ended their trip. Alex said that now he truly felt like an adventurer. Hearing this, Yorha suddenly became worried and admitted that when she met Alex in the capital, she thought she could take advantage of his circumstances. Knowing that Alex had just been fired from his post, she invited him to join her party, but now she felt that this place was not right for him. She told Alex that if his ambitions were big, then perhaps he should change his decision. He said with a light smile that these small things no longer affected him. He stated that he had left his entire past behind, and now, together with his friends, the thought of becoming the strongest adventurer gave him true happiness. Hearing this, happiness literally shone on Yorha's face, and she immediately reminded him that breaking his promise was absolutely not allowed. In a half-joking, half-threatening tone, she said that if Alex even tried to run, she would send Ren to chase him to the ends of the earth because she knew that Alex was the type of guy who kept everything bottled up inside. Just then, Alex suddenly turned serious and said he had a confession to make. Hearing this, Yorha's expectations went sky high. She closed her eyes and leaned slightly toward him as if a romantic line was coming. But the very next moment, Alex said that after losing the bet with Ren, he no longer had permission to hide secrets. Hearing this, Yorha's face instantly turned red. Anger, shame, and irritation hit her all at once. She quickly turned her face away to hide her embarrassment from him. The next morning, Ren pulled Alex's blanket off with a jerk and, waking him up, started scolding him for wasting his time all night on those weird, complicated books. Alex spoke softly, saying he was just trying to understand something, but Ren said that he did not need to overthink it. She told him to just follow his routine and move on. Then she ordered him to get ready quickly, because adventurers started their morning before sunrise. As soon as Alex got ready, he said with excitement, "Let's do the routine the same way today." The most dangerous part of their morning routine was a mock duel with wooden swords. The girls held their heads seeing the over-energetic vibes of these two early in the morning. Alex explained that in the last 4 years, he did not have much chance to fight. Therefore, he would have to work double hard to catch up with Ren and the others. But the twist today was that Alex surprisingly blocked Ren with ease, and the duel ended right there when Alex's wooden sword broke into 2 pieces. Alex laughed a little and said he was sure he would win today, while Ren jokingly told him not to dream of winning against her even in 100 years. Ren then challenged him to a rematch with proper weapons, but Yorha intervened and stopped them both before these two children could truly clash again. At the same time, Loki made an entry and casually asked if they needed the guidance of an S-rank adventurer in their morning training. Everyone ignored him as if he were air because, to be honest, no one wanted to deal with his irritating behavior. But as soon as Loki mentioned that he was the one who gave them the S-rank recommendation, the entire group turned towards him simultaneously. Yorha straight up asked him to show the S-rank card. Loki first made a joke and then set a condition that he would only give the card if Ren apologized for always behaving rude. Ren was about to flare up in anger when Val and Krista entered. As soon as she arrived, Krista lightly smacked Loki on the head and revealed that they both came on behalf of the Guildmaster to deliver the official S-rank card. Val explained that with their recommendation, the Guildmaster had given approval and their party lasting period had now officially become S-rank. Hearing this, Yorha's excitement literally exploded. Krista told Alex that becoming an S-rank party meant they could now officially enter Arcana dungeons, which were even riskier than the 64th floor of normal dungeons. Hearing this, Alex became a little tense. Val and Krista calmed him down and said that if he needed help with anything, he just had to ask, because they still hadn't fully repaid Alex's favor. Just then, Loki, with his irritating timing, invited the girls to lunch. The girls clearly refused him and then told Alex and Ren that Loki was talking about treating everyone to lunch. Hungry, Alex and Ren said yes immediately, but Loki instantly backed out on his word. However, Alex and Ren were fully in the mood for free food today. They practically dragged Loki to the restaurant. Arriving there, the whole group started eating with gusto. Alex remarked that they had truly become a real S-rank party now. Ren warned him that if he uttered even a single line of self-doubt, he would beat him up right there in front of everyone. Alex laughed and said that there would be no negativity today, just celebration. He instructed the waiters to bring their most expensive drinks, and Loki got scared just seeing them. Their party lasted until late at night, and Yorha fainted after taking just one strong drink, passed out because she couldn't handle such heavy alcohol. Alex remarked that Yorha must have been very happy about the S-rank promotion, but Kraza clearly stated that Yorha was not excited just for this reason. She said that Yorha was happy because Alex chose them over the king. Alex said that those matters were in the past, but Ren said that some issues still needed to be cleared up. Ren said with irritation that the last time the prince tried to take him away, Alex handled everything without saying a word, and if he had been there, he would have broken every bone in the prince's body. Just then, the guild's receptionist came running and urgently called Kraza because many injured people needed treat. Kraza immediately reached there and started treating the injured adventurers. The receptionist mentioned that today, unusually, a high number of people were injured. Kraza asked if these people were injured in a monster attack. She replied that no, they were attacked by humans, not monsters. Hearing this, Kraza was in shock. Then the receptionist told her about the Shadow Guild, a criminal group that attacked adventurers. Kraza became even more worried. The guildmaster took her to a room where a badly injured girl was lying. He revealed that this was Olivia, a member of the Nameless party, and the Shadow Guild had attacked her. Saying this, the guildmaster left to handle the rest of the work there. Kraza saw the deep wounds on Olivia's body and understood that the healing would take a very long time. As soon as she started the treatment, Olivia grabbed her hand and asked where she was. Kraza told her she was in the guildmaster's office and that the Shadow Guild had attacked her. Hearing this, Olivia was filled with anger and started cursing the traitor who caused all this. She told Kraza to heal her quickly so she could immediately go and catch that traitor. But Kraza strictly refused because moving such a badly injured person was risky. Olivia grabbed her shirt in anger and tried to get up, but due to her poor condition, she immediately fainted. Kraza started the full treatment. She cleaned the wounds, applied healing magic, and focused entirely on stabilizing her breathing. She remembered that Olivia was a famous swordmaster and wondered who could attack her in such a bold manner. She did not even realize when morning came while treating her, and she fell asleep right next to Olivia. On the other hand, Alex was collecting more information about the Arcana dungeon in the library. Just then, a boy called his name. Alex asked with some confusion if they knew each other, and the boy named Leo smiled and replied that he was very hungry and a good sweet would force him to speak quickly. Alex controlled his curiosity, gave the boy some sweets, and then revealed that he was a member of the S-rank party Nameless. Hearing this, Alex almost stopped drinking his coffee and asked Leo what he wanted from him. The boy openly stated that he had heard a lot about him, and for that reason, he came to invite him to join his team to raid the dungeon. The next morning, Kraza decided that she would go to meet Olivia and ask about her condition, but she heard the sound of someone's rhythmic footsteps from outside. As soon as she opened the door, she saw Olivia sitting on her bed, holding a wooden sword. She was continuously practicing swordplay, despite being injured. Meanwhile, the guildmaster with a tired face was just sitting there quietly observing her. Kraza immediately told Olivia to put the sword down, or her wounds would reopen. Then she turned toward the guildmaster and firmly asked why he didn't take action instead of just sitting and watching her. The guildmaster calmly replied that he had tried to stop her, but Olivia did not listen at all. He felt that only Kraza could manage a stubborn person like Olivia. Olivia suddenly interrupted in a slightly rude tone. She said her legs were still not working properly, and Kraza should do her job so her legs would heal quickly and she could complete her unfinished business. The guildmaster now looked at her and calmly told her to stop talking and reveal who attacked her. But Olivia firmly stated that no matter how many times he asked, her answer would remain the same. Kraza immediately intervened and pushed the guildmaster out with some force because she had to bandage Olivia's wounds now. Saying this, she sent the guildmaster out of the room and returned to Olivia. She checked her bandages and applied new bandages to her legs so that the wounds remained infection-free and healed correctly. Olivia looked at her and asked if she, like the others, was not interested in knowing who attacked her. But Kraza remembered the restlessness she saw in Olivia's eyes the previous night when she was screaming that the one she trusted had betrayed her. Kraza softly said that she was not interested in other people's private matters. She just focused on her work. Hearing this, Olivia relaxed a little and bowed to apologize for her rude behavior the previous night. She said that she had become mentally weak due to the pain and the situation and started showing attitude for no reason, while Kraza had saved her life. Kraza smiled slightly and kissed her softly on the forehead. Olivia was shocked. She leaned back against the wall and said that she wasn't like that. But Kraza explained that it was just a soothing magic technique to make patients feel relaxed. Olivia suddenly felt warmth on her forehead, just like her mother used to give in childhood. Her mind began to calm down, and she asked for something warm to drink. Kraza poured tea for her and went out to get breakfast. Coming back to the training ground, Alex told Ren and Yorha that he had met Leo from the Nameless Party, and that Leo had invited them for a raid in the Labyrinth dungeon. Ren laughingly teased him that Alex must have fallen for his charm. He jokingly said that sometimes he even doubted if Alex was fully straight or not. Then he revealed that Leo was an elf, and his age was more than the total age of the three of them combined. Alex was genuinely shocked by this because he had no idea that elves lived for such a long time, especially while looking so young. Alex further explained that Leo and his team were about to reach the last floor of the dungeon soon, but due to some emergency, they would have to stop midway. That's why they wanted Alex and his team to go and finish off the final boss and obtain the dungeon core crystals. Alex was stunned because clearing the last floor meant a lot of money and massive fame. That's why he asked what urgent work had come up that they were leaving such a huge opportunity. Leo explained that the Shadow Guild had attacked Olivia, and their team was not going to let this go without revenge. Saying this, he gave Alex the crystal of that last cleared floor to show goodwill. Ren stopped him and said that all this seemed a bit fishy, sending them directly to the second to last floor, giving the crystal, and on top of that, dealing with the Shadow Guild. It all seemed too perfect. But Yorha had a different opinion. She said that Leo was definitely a bit eccentric, but he was the one who kept his team in perfect balance and brought out their true power. Ren was not in the mood to think much more, and said that they would deal with whatever situation arose. Right now, they should take Olivia to the dungeon first, because Kraza must have completed her treatment. When they reached the hospital, a receptionist bumped into them nervously and said she was looking for them because something seemed wrong with Kraza. Alex and the others immediately went inside and saw Kraza stumbling in the hallway in a drugged state. Alex caught her before she fell. Kraza revealed that Olivia had drugged her and run off to the dungeon alone to take revenge. Ren got furious and said that Kraza was too soft for that rude woman. She should have been left in pain for a few days. Kraza angrily replied that Olivia was injured, and if she went to fight now, she might not even survive. Ren didn't care. According to him, Olivia was an S-rank adventurer. She should take responsibility for herself. There was no need to run after her every time. Kraza stopped arguing and firmly stated that Olivia ran to the dungeon only because Kraza had treated her legs. Therefore, now saving her was her responsibility. Even if she had to go alone, she would bring her back. As soon as Alex said this, the rest of the team immediately made it clear that they would not let him go inside alone. The whole group immediately started their preparations. Ren said with a slight smile that anyway, their target this time was to reach the final floor. So this was just a small detour. And from here, the atmosphere started becoming a bit intense because a short while later, they all reached that big, strange, and slightly heavy-feeling entrance. Taking a deep breath, Yorha told Alex that this dungeon was full of teleport traps, meaning one wrong step and a person could be thrown who knows where. Many adventurers wandered off like this, disappeared, and never returned. Just then, suddenly, Belle from Ryoma appeared in front of them with a poof, and everyone was shocked. She ran straight to Alex and said that getting lost in such a dungeon was super risky. Therefore, Alex should hold her hand at all times while walking. Then, feeling a bit shy, she said that Leo had sent her because he found out that Olivia had entered alone, and added in an awkward tone that she wanted to see Alex's thick and sturdy staff in action with big chance in magic again. Yorha's patience ran out right there. She pushed Belle back and said that their party was not scattered like Nameless. Here, teamwork was most important, and these 4 people were enough to clear the dungeon. Alex looked with a bit of confusion, so Yorha explained that although Nameless might seem like a group, in reality, everyone fought at their own speed, as if it were a solo run. Ren laughingly said that if Leo hadn't used his sweet talk, those people would never have even become a squad. Belle explained that Nameless went inside together, but behaved outside as if they barely knew each other. Ren teased by calling Olivia arrogant, but Belle immediately stopped him. According to Belle, no matter how scary or rude Olivia seemed from the outside, inside she was an extremely soft-hearted person. Belle remembered the days when she used to roam around behind Olivia. She kept watching her train and asked for tips non-stop because Olivia was the strongest swordswoman in that region. But Olivia never ignored her. She always guided her. Hearing this, Yorha jumped in again. She pushes Belle away from Alex and tells her she should report to the guildmaster that their party has descended inside. Belle innocently agrees, but while leaving, tells Alex to bring Olivia back safe. Ren also hands Alex a friendship band. After this, the whole group moves inside with new enthusiasm. As soon as they enter, Kraza quickly starts preparing a teleportation circle so that upcoming traps can be bypassed. Ren then teases her, saying that just a while ago she was crying like a baby for Olivia, and now she is behaving as if nothing happened. Kraza, in irritation, gives him a hard kick, and that activates another trap circle. Alex extends his hand to save her, but gets pulled into the trap himself. In the blink of an eye, both get teleported to different places. Alex finds himself surrounded by pig-like monsters. He releases lightning magic without delay and blows them into the air. Just then, from behind, an arrow passes through a monster's head. He looks up and finds Kraza standing on a high rock with her bow ready. As soon as the monsters are finished, Alex asks how she found him. Kraza explains that she already guessed that in such a dungeon, the possibility of the party getting separated was very high. She just didn't think it would happen so soon. She shows the friendship band and says that this is a special magical link. No matter which corner they are teleported to, the device eventually brings them close. Yorha and Ren also have a pair of these, so they will also be safe. After this, both pass through smelly, muddy tunnels and move forward, clearing the monsters coming in their way with their insane speed and sword skills. During this, Alex suddenly stops. He finds Olivia's blood-stained bandage on the ground. He softly says that Olivia is somewhere nearby. On the other side, Yorha and Ren run to save their lives. Because Ren had opened a suspicious door out of curiosity, which was clearly a trap, Ren defends himself, saying that the door looked very interesting. Yorha knows there is no point arguing with him, so she creates a high wall with earth magic and tells Ren to go down and finish the leader monster while she buffs him from above. Ren jumps straight into the crowd, and with Yorha's boost, tears through the monsters to reach the boss. With a powerful spear attack, he knocks the boss down. As soon as the boss dies, the remaining monsters run away in fear. Yorha comes down, pats his back, and both move forward. On the other side, Alex and Kraza quickly search for Olivia and finally find her sitting in an open space. She is trying to tie a new bandage on her wounds. She looks even more injured but pretends that everything is fine. She asks Kraza for healing. Kraza immediately refuses, saying that if she heals her, Olivia will try to run away. Again, Olivia turns to Alex and asks if he knows any kind of healing magic. Alex softly says that all his spells are offensive. Then he sits near her and softly explains that Kraza is just scared for her safety because she was truly terrified while searching for Olivia. Hearing this, Olivia's anger subsides a little. She looks at Kraza and says not to trust people so quickly. Kraza has betrayed her before too. Then she stands up and says that if they won't give healing, it's fine. Just get out of her way. But Kraza is not one to back down. She looks at Alex and tells him to block the path. And with this, the episode ends here. But its next part is already ready. Just comment revenge. By the way, there's no target. I will upload the next part tomorrow. Seeing your comments feels even better. Goodbye.